How you doing?
Good. How are
Mister?
you?
Good, good. So you're in Manitoba,
Yeah, yeah.
and what's happened since Ontario? Bring us up to speed.
Ah, Actually, Manitoba has actually been a really an amazing and refreshing experience.
Yeah.
Probably because I found like Ontario was very hilly, was
Mm-hmm.
very demanding.
Right.
I get into Manitoba and it's just all of a sudden it's like now we're kind of really flat, and so
Flattens
physically
out, eh?
it's been really nice actually. It's been refreshing.
Oh, good.
Um, and the clouds have been just so beautiful and
Yeah.
fluffy in the distance because you got so much sky.
Right.
So yeah, so I pedaled about 100 kilometers into Manitoba the first day
Yeah.
from the Ontario border. And then the next day I had about 50, 60 kilometers into Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up staying with a warm showers host named Louise.
Okay.
And I was there for a few days. I was actually going to move on fairly quickly because it's kind of weird because I mean, I've driven through Manitoba a bunch of times in the truck, and
Right.
there's, in the grand scheme of things, there's not too much to see, and so
Yeah.
I didn't really have a whole lot of expectation about Manitoba.
Yeah.
But Louise said, you know, you haven't seen this, and you haven't seen that, and this and that, and so I thought, okay, all right, I get it, I get it. I'll spend a day in Winnipeg and check Winnipeg out. And so I went to the Winnipeg Art Gallery, which is called WAGS. They actually have the largest Inuit soapstone collection in the world. And that was actually really cool. I sort of do appreciate art.
Hmm.
And so I went from the art gallery and then I went to the Human Rights Museum. And
Yeah.
that was kind of an interesting experience. And then I crossed over, I think it's the Red River, I think it is, over there, kind of their most famously photographed bridge in Winnipeg.
Right.
And there's this, I guess it's a pretty ugly statue, at least the locals consider it pretty ugly statue of Louis Riel because Louis Riel is kind of Manitoba's hero.
Yeah.
And so they're not a big fan of this statue, I guess. That's what the impression I've been given. And it's actually behind some university on the other side of the river. And so I tracked that down and took a few photos of that and then came back over. And then I walked around the forks, which is kind of where the two rivers, I forget, there's the Red River and another river that's escaping me, but it's where they connect. It's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of the main areas where the natives uh, did all their trade and connected like hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
Right.
And then I went over by the legislature buildings and took a whole bunch of photos around that. And I think at the end of the day, I had actually walked between in the museums and back and forth to my host. I walked over 15 kilometers that day.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I was pretty beat by the end of the day. Anyways, from there, I headed
Wow.
to actually CFB Shilo,
Yeah.
Canadian Forces Base. I have a longtime follower and fan, Steve Sloat and his wife Kathy.
Yep.
Steve has been following me from pretty much the beginning
Mm-hmm.
and messaged me numerous times that, hey, when you come through, stop by. I actually didn't realize he was actually living on the base. He's actually a captain in the artillery division.
Oh, yeah.
And so this was my first time on a Canadian Forces base, which was kind of an interesting
Huh.
experience. I mean, not that there was a whole lot going on because I don't think we're at war anymore. I don't think, could be wrong. I don't follow these things so
In
closely.
different
So
ways.
it was pretty laid back and pretty quiet, but it was just
Yeah.
kind of an interesting experience to be on a base for the first time. And
Yeah.
anyways, he gave me a bit of a tour. We actually backtracked. We went back to the highway. There's Camp Hughes. It's now a rest area on one side of the highway, but on the other side of the highway, there's this, I guess we'll call it a park or whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually the remnants. It's the last remaining remnants of a World War I training ground where they actually had the trenches. They
Oh, really?
came in when the veterans came back. They said, hey, this is all trench warfare, and they mocked up this whole trench system here in Alberta, or
Oh,
sorry, in
oh,
Manitoba,
man.
uh, and anyways, that's where they did their training from World War I, and so you can sort of still barely see the remnants of the trenches.
Wow.
So we went out there, and then the next day I actually went to the Artillery Museum. That was actually it's not huge, but I ended up spending like 3 hours there. It was actually
Wow.
quite interesting.
Yeah.
So I actually spent a bunch of days in the on the base. Just me and Steve got along so well.
Yeah.
And then it was just a few more days of pedaling out of Manitoba, basically. I think I 588 no, oh crap, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe it was, I don't know. Man, you know what? I've already forgotten how many kilometers I've pedaled. Maybe we'll have to put it in the notes or something. But no, Manitoba's actually it's been really pleasant, actually. Just kind of just the flatter, the flatter terrain has been
Right.
just kind of just, it's been nice. I actually have really enjoyed Manitoba far more than I had anticipated. So
Yeah.
yeah, 2 thumbs up for Manitoba for sure.
And you got a lot of flat moor road ahead of you, eh?
Yeah. Nothing but flat till the Rockies.
Well, sounds exciting. Well, yeah, thanks, Arie, for giving us this update. And
Yeah, no worries.
yeah, we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for
Awesome.
taking the call today.
Yep.
All right. Take care, bud.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.